Now, we're probably about 4 hours into this shot. Okay, so we've got our blocking. For anybody who hasn't been following along, we have our golden poses for the rest of the shot. So the little sniff, the look up, the run, okay, which also I probably will be making a little bit faster. I also want to try and get, you know, some of this to be sort of on the spot, you know, so he's treading ground and then he takes off. So I want to try and get that in there as well. The skid in and up to the P, and then we'll have like our little sort of sigh of relief. That's it. Okay. So what we're going to be doing tonight is trying to get it from here, like to do this whole 360-degree walk around and up to here. And we probably, you know, we might try and get into some of the treadmill tonight to see how far we get. But let's see. So the main thing that we want to try and do is get a feeling for the timing, like of how fast he's actually walking around, even though it's just in sort of like a weird, unbroken down spline pass, right? So because we just really have, you know, this pose, right? So it's going to look very strange going from this pose to this pose, and then over here where the feet are just kind of slipping around. So we haven't really solved anything except for the actual track, you know, the path that he's actually following, right? So we need to figure all this stuff out. So we've just kind of got this whole thing coming around here, and the tail swinging out there, and then coming around, and then up to our sort of more alert pose. Okay. It kind of feels fast to me. So what I want to try and do is let's try and squeeze down the trot a little bit, because I want to try and save some time, because I don't want to go over the 200 frames that we've got allotted for the shot, right? So I want to try and get some more time from this part right here. But what this gives us is the ability to now give myself some extra time to go around here. I'm just going to grab this and move these down closer. Okay. So around there, and then we've got this pose here. I'll pull this down. I was on 8s actually, so I'm going to put it on 9s. Just give myself that extra little bit. That's actually not bad. Okay, that's interesting. Kind of gives him a little bit more juice, like as he's kind of trotting in. And now the actual sniff feels a bit better. Okay, so now let's go ahead and start breaking this down. So you start thinking about like, well, what's going on? Like, how do we actually get from these poses, like this pose to this pose? Like, what is actually happening here? So usually it is the back leg releasing the front leg, okay? Now, usually the back leg releasing the front leg of the same side, not the opposite side. But for this, because we want to try and get him around here, we're going to just try and make sense out of it. I'm not going to follow too many rules about, you know, it has to be the same side. I'm just going to make it feel right, okay? A lot of times what you got to try and do, like if you're going to do a certain move in a certain amount of time, or move the character in a certain way, sometimes you just got to make it work, all right? And this is what I'm going to try and do tonight, is just try and make sense out of this. I'm going to make this leg release this leg, all right? So I'm going to set a key right in the center between these two. So I'm going to choose basically around 69 and do a select all and set a key. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this frame right here, this key. Let me turn off the surfaces. So copy this key right here from this pose. Copy it right to there. Okay. So he's not moving, right? And we want to make this foot reach across. Okay, so I'm basically going to try and get as close to this pose as possible. Like basically swinging that leg right around. Okay, so I'm going to grab this pose from here and try and copy it over to there. And it might look too stretched, right? Because see the way it's sort of going right on top of that pose, right? So now I'm going to work backwards from there. Okay. This is the pose right here. This is the key. Let's find that circle. There it is there. So if I work backwards, like that's where we're going to be placing the key. So I'm going to basically just going to lift this foot up and rotate it. Okay, get the toe bend. So that we know eventually this foot's going to take off and this foot's going to take its place. Okay. Okay, I think I can bring it a little bit more forward so that here I can kind of see that it's going to make a plant. So graphically speaking, it feels about halfway between here and here. Now, as far as the body goes, like how are we going to get from there, from his head, you know, body-wise, over to here? So it feels like a very big arc that he's actually swinging around there. But I think what I want to try and do is tighten that up a little bit. Sort of aim his body a little bit more in the direction that he's actually going to be going. Okay? And then grab his head. And sort of counter that back, grab his neck, counter that back just a little bit, and then grab his head. And sort of lead with the nose, like straight down, you know. Now, this paw over here, I think we can actually get down to here, you know, actually plant it. Or pretty close to planting it. I'm going to just kind of push this back here. So to save like both of these landing on the same frame, see both of them are kind of up in the air now, I'm going to make this one land earlier because it's not such a far stretch for this paw to go from there to there over 5 frames. So I'm just going to copy this paw position with all its accessories right here. I'm going to plant that back here. Okay, now let's grab the knee, or the elbow, left elbow. Push that around. And that gives me a nice ability to now be able to release this paw when this one comes down, right? So that's going to work out quite well. Okay. So basically, you know, when, you know, a lot of people ask me like about my approach, and I'm using a lot of what the computer gives me, you know, but I'm spending a lot of time on my main keys. So I don't set keys just willy-nilly, you know, I don't just kind of go in and just set like a whole bunch of keys straight ahead. It's more like I'm planning it out, right? And then I want to use as few keys as possible to get my idea across. And then I want to just kind of play it back with the computer's in-betweens after I've done like a stepped key kind of play blast. You know, first of all, the stepped key play blast is kind of like a storyboard, right? But then the idea of putting the linear in-betweens in there is that you just want to get an idea of the overall timing. You know, the golden poses are there, but they're made to evolve. You know, they're not like set in stone. You know, they're just kind of there like to set the benchmark, the emotional state, you know, the action of the character. And then you're going to let it evolve like as you start to break down the action. The idea of these, you know, these demos is not really for me to show off like how fast I can do stuff. It's more to show you guys like an approach, okay? Now, I do not get it right every time, first time. Like you can see like the struggle that I was going through here, you know, with the legs. So I'm going through the exact same things that you are. It's just that, you know, I've trained my eyes so much over the last 20 years to kind of see if things are working or not working.